Wednesday to head down towards Puerto Rico. We're going to play 2 games, all right? And as you saw today, this simulated a little bit more of a practice. We get a certain number of practices leading into that trip that we're utilizing to build a base. The focus on this week has been defense. So this is kind of a defensive boot camp for us. Everything we're doing, including the weight room, has an element of defense to it. Working on getting better on that side of the ball. So our guys have had a great couple days. Got a long week ahead, but it's been really good. They've showed a lot so far, and excited as we progress into getting ready to head out of town.
How important are these extra practices that you get with a trip like this, these experiences when you have so many new faces?
Yeah, it's really important. You know, we're trying to, it gives us an opportunity, I think, to speed up some game situation, learn a little bit about our guys, figure out how to handle adversity together. You know, that's all stuff that it's hard to create, you know, organically. You need to go play against somebody to do. We'll certainly do it, you know, against each other a lot this summer leading into the fall, but when you can go against someone else who you don't know what they're going to run, and you don't know what defense they could do, and how it could impact us, it's going to force us to think on our feet. And we're gonna make our guys figure some stuff out. Like this is not meant to be an over-coaching trip, right? Our guys are gonna have to figure some stuff out on the fly, and I'm excited to see who steps up from a leadership standpoint. Junie's been great with that, but we need some other guys to help him. So there's gonna be an opportunity for growth for us, and I think that's the best part. We're simulating as best we can with some of these practices, using this time to add to our foundation on both sides of the ball. So, you know, we're doing some things for the first time. We have a checklist we're going through that we want to have accomplished, at least some reps in those areas before we touch down in Puerto Rico. So we're just kind of chipping away at that. And these practices give us a chance to make that checklist a little bit longer than usual.
Who are the teams you're playing? What kind of competition is it?
It should be good competition. We haven't received a roster yet, so we're working with some people down there, and we anticipate, you know, being some good competition, playing against some experience, which I think would be really good for us. But not exactly sure who we're going up against yet. We'll get some of that information a little bit more next week.
You seem a little more vocal today than you have been in the last couple times we've been out here. Is that in preparation for this trip, or is it just because you have a rapid breakfast?
Yeah, it's right now. My job is to fight for our non-negotiables. We're going to make mistakes. You know, that's to be expected. I want guys making mistakes because they're aggressive offensively. Don't want to make mistakes, you know, defensively that involve stopping playing, right? Not communicating. So there's some things that we'll get vocal about specifically. And then starting now, as we've had individual conversation with guys, like you saw, you know, Justin today make a couple one-foot plays in traffic. Then you saw as practice progressed after we talked about that, he made some really good plays in the paint. So that's what we want to see individually as guys grow, because we now have some data, we now have some film that we can go back and reference. And when we have those conversations, I want to see that stuff translate. So that was the reason for being a little more vocal.
Veteran, even if they're not all experienced at Ohio State, you find it easier to be pushing the envelope aggression-wise and like teaching in this type of environment?
Yeah, I think there's a balance. We have to do a lot of teaching. You know, we're not doing the exact same stuff we did last year. There's an element of what we did last year that we, you know, evaluated this spring that worked, and we're carrying that over. So some of that's familiar with our returners, but the bulk of our roster is new, and so we have to do a lot of teaching this summer, and it's been a little bit of a slower pace. I think going from year 2 to year 3 for me, that was something that I had to evaluate to make sure that, you know, we're getting the message across in a way that it can be received quickly. And we have some returners who can help me keep the pace and the urgency, and I don't have to necessarily do that every day. So I think we've got a good balance right now. This team responds well to those a little bit slower teaching, part of knowing your team, and we figured that out pretty early. So we're trying to I'm holding myself accountable, my staff is holding me accountable to make sure we're teaching at the right pace to really solidify that foundation since we have more time in the summer.
To that point, you see Mobley very fired up. How much do you rely on his leadership, especially with a lot of new faces?
A lot. It's critical. It's going to be critical to the success of this team. The consistency at which he has led has been better than I anticipated in the summer. I knew he had the stuff to get there before the season started, but he's ahead of schedule in regards to that. And his buy-in to being a leader has been great. The consistency, certainly with his voice, but his work ethic. I mean, he's in here every single morning. And so when guys come in here to lift, they're seeing him walk out of the gym with a lather. That sets a tone for our team. And he's been really impressive. So part of, I think, me making sure that I create space for his voice, Amari's voice. I think Justin's getting better in that regard. Like, I can't be the only voice in the gym. And I'm seeing those guys step up in a great way. And that's going to be really important for us. The best teams are player-led. And right now, I think we got a great start with that so far.
Why
Jake.
Puerto Rico?
Great question. We originally were planning to go to Israel and weren't able to do that. And that kind of came about late. So we pivoted, and this is kind of where we ended up. And I think the level of competition we're going to get down there, the quality of trip that it's going to be, it's a big time trip. There's been teams that have gone down there recently. It's a new place for our team. I think there's an element of that's exciting. So scheduling's complex, including scheduling international trips. So this worked out best for us, and we're excited about it.
How much can this also help off the court with all the new faces? You guys have a lot of this. I know you guys have done some other stuff, but just that time together where they're on the road and whatnot.
Yeah, chemistry is so important in college basketball. You don't have a chance to have great chemistry if you don't have a locker room full of good guys. We have that. And there's been an organic element to the way the chemistry is formed because guys are intentional about spending time together off the court outside of the stuff that we're doing as well. I think this creates obviously an opportunity for them to see a different part of the world together, which will build chemistry for us to play some games, ahead of schedule, which will build some chemistry on the court. And so nothing but positive, will come from this. And but most importantly, we got great guys, and that's why we got a chance to have really good chemistry on the court.
You want the guys to figure things out. You don't have a scouting report. You don't have an opponent yet. How deep will you go into that once you get that, or do you go not as deep because you want them to figure it out?
Yeah, not as deep. This won't be a typical game prep. Again, there's got to be an element of adversity that we can manufacture with our lack of preparation, so to speak. We'll be prepared for, from a limited basis of what we want to accomplish on offense and defense, but going into this a little blind as to who we're going to play, what they're going to do, I think is a great thing for us because that's going to force guys to talk a little bit more. It's going to force them to figure some stuff out on the fly, and that's part of the adversity we're excited to experience down there.
That's a benefit. Was that kind of the point as well?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think we'll get information on who we're playing, and we can certainly simulate this like a true road game. We're going to have 3 exhibitions this year, so we'll have an opportunity to do more of that leading into the season. But this trip, we want as much in-game adversity as we can get. And so by not diving deep into the scouting report adds certainly a layer of that to it. And I'm excited to see how we respond. I want to see who speaks up. I want to see who connects us. I want to see who helps us stay a little disciplined because we're evaluating all that stuff with a new team.
Does the coach ever mislead in terms of?
Coach would never do that. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's like hey, watch this guy, but maybe not so much, or just.
No, we would never mislead anybody. Of course not.
Following up on what you're saying about teaching, I noticed like the LJ in particular, a few times you wrapped your arm around him and you talked to him slowly. Maybe some returners, it's a little bit more intense, the coaching. Is that something you're cognizant of maybe you're coaching those veterans a little bit differently than those new freshmen?
Yeah, I think freshmen don't know what they don't know, right? And everything's different because I'm having one-on-one conversations with every player. So if I've had to talk to a player about something 2 and 3 times, the conversation may be a little more intense, right? But for a freshman who's, you know, adjusting to the speed of the game and the physicality of the game, and we've thrown a lot of stuff at those guys early, that conversation may not have the same intensity. Now, if I gotta have that same conversation with them a few times, then the intensity level may pick up. But it's part of knowing each player. Some guys need more intensity than others, and it's all about. I learned this from Homer Drew. Like, your job as a head coach is to get your players to receive that coaching as best as they possibly can, and you can't coach everybody the exact same. We have non-negotiables that everybody gets held accountable to, but we're not going to coach every player the same thing, because, you know, what Andrea may need or versus what, you know, LJ may need, it could be completely different to help them be their best for our team. Now, perks of being one of our best players and one of our leaders, you're going to get coached hard, and you know, you can coach Junie hard, you can coach Amari hard, and you almost are coaching the team through them at times. And we're now at a point which has been great. Those guys are you know, getting the guys and almost coaching some of our other guys before I can even get to them. And I think that's a sign of a really good team.
Good training. He got matched up with Amari in the post there one time. I think he got the stop. And I heard you yelling to Amari, like, Jimmy's gotten a lot better on defense, or something to that effect. A play like that, or a moment like that, like what does that show about how maybe far he's come, and what effort he's putting in on the defense?
Yeah, I think it certainly speaks to his intentionality and effort to getting better on that side of the ball. It was some of the feedback we got, you know, when he went through the process. I also like to add a little fuel to the fire sometimes to raise the temperature of the game. You know, we got the one thing about this team, they compete at a really high level. It's not always beautiful. We still got some turnovers and some breakdowns and stuff. That's part of being together in the summer. But the level of competition since day one with this group has been really high, and it's respectful. Guys will talk a little trash, they'll get after it, but, you know, we all leave here as a family, and I think that's a sign of good things to come.
Jake, you mentioned this is a defensive boot camp. Good defense can turn into good offense, but what do you focus on specifically in transition basketball with this group of players?
Offensively or defensively?
Defensively turning into offense.
Yeah, well, we didn't force enough turnovers last year. We didn't get out into transition enough. So we're trying to generate more opportunities. That's why you're seeing us advance the ball across half court more. We're trying to be more disruptive defensively, get more deflections, create some live ball turnovers. So it takes time. I think we have the personnel that do it. We're longer, we're bigger, and that gives us an opportunity to be more aggressive in gaps. It gives us an opportunity to be more aggressive on the ball. And so we're trying to generate more possessions in the open court through our defense. We're trying to generate more open court possessions with our pace as well. But the best way to do that is if we can get some live ball turnovers and get some deflections. All right, guys, thank you.